Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joan Pete, and I'm president of your Board of Trustees, and I just want to update you on our latest safety measures. As you can see, we've opened the bathroom. There's signs. We want you to come in through the Pat Bennett Community Room. Come straight through, and as you know, the bathrooms are on the right. Once you've entered left the room. That way you can avoid all the equipment that's in the front here. We've added an ultraviolet filter to the air conditioning so that the air will be more filtered. We would like you to continue to social distancing, though, as you're doing. We appreciate that. Keeping your chairs 6 feet apart. And to wear your mask when you're moving around. When you're sitting during the service, if you're comfortable, you can take your masks off. But anytime in the church or just moving, please leave them on. We really appreciate you complying with all this. Our goal is to have everybody be together, but to be as safe as possible. So thank you, and it's wonderful to see you all. Thank you.
I don't think you can read my shirt from here, but it says Spirit Groups. Yay! So this one is going to be so cool, and it starts this Tuesday, and we're doing it via Zoom, so you could come in your jammies, your swimsuit, whatever suits you, at 2:30 until 4 o'clock. And this is the book we're using. It's Reverend Linda Martella-Witt's, it's How to Pray Without Talking to God. And you may have that in your library already. If you don't, you can still get it through our bookstore by contacting Barbara. And the name of this topic on this Spirit session is Affirmative Empowering Prayer. And she is actually doing the videos. So it's going to be super connected. And I can't think of a better topic to talk about during these times. So please join us on Zoom this Tuesday at 2:30. Thank you.
Think light in the face of darkness. Think faith when you're lost at sea. Think good, for there is no evil in the world unless you think it ought to be. When you rule your mind, you rule your world. Think light, think faith, think good, go. Think high when you're feeling low down. Think free when you want to fly. Think big if you want to grow up in the world, unless you think you'll never try. When you rule your mind, you rule the world. Think high, think free, think big. Last verse. Think life full of vim and vigor. Think truth, let your spirit flow. Think love, and there'll be a love in all the world, unless you think you'll never know. When you rule your mind, you rule your mind. Think life, think truth, think love, think.
How many of you think too much? Yeah. And if you don't, then you're probably in denial. Or you think talking to yourself isn't you. It's one or the other, right? Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center. We're glad you could join us today on this beautiful, beautiful day. Beautiful day, right? And isn't this the day that the God has made? The God within us, right? Because there's no place that God is not. Repeat, there is no place that God is not present and active in our life all the time. Nowhere, no how. God is there. It's awesome. It's awesome, awesome. So I want to do one other announcement before we move on, is that this Wednesday starts the Q process, which is a triggering training tool for us to be able to minimize the triggers in our lives. Do we have any triggers? Just a couple? Yeah. I got a laundry list of them. I get to choose which trigger I want to hit this day. Right? I woke up this morning going, 80% chance of rain. Oh, that's at 1, thanks. Right? But I was initially triggered, and then I had to shift, and we do this all day long. So if you're interested in taking it, please, and you haven't signed up already, please see me immediately after the service so I can hand you the workbook and move you in the right direction. It's all good. Okay, so let's now get still. This is the time in our service where we get to be all right with God in our life. Take this quiet moment to connect. Because as we weather the storms of our lives, we can disconnect ourselves quietly with God without even knowing it. So this is our time to just allow ourselves to be right here, right now. And I would put both feet on the ground if you haven't already, and put your palms on the top of your thighs and just open up your heart. And one of the best ways to connect with your heart is to take a nice deep breath. To breathe in, and then to be able to let go of all that no longer serves us. Because when we are in that moment with God, we can put aside all the other stuff. We just be here right now. For we steady ourselves with God. We're not wavering in our understanding of God. We know that God is present in our lives. Although God is out there, but God is also inside, because the out there is everything and everyone in our universe, and they too have access to God. For so many of us, it's a transition to move from a God outside of ourselves to this entity, this spirit that we choose to call God. That this entity resides within us, alive, steadying us through our stormy waters. For when we can acknowledge the presence of God within ourselves, it's easy transition to acknowledge that God in others, no matter what outer appearances might say, even no matter what they may say about God. We know that God is living and active in them, even if they don't know it. For God is in the birds that sing. God is in the concrete and the asphalt. There is no place that God is not. And so as we open our hearts to the unlimited possibilities with God, for there are no borders around God's good, the invisible substance of the divine ideas of God impregnate within us to be expressed, to be fulfilled through us, through our sense of imagination, through our power faculty, through our wisdom faculty. For it is the faculty of understanding that brings forth the outer expression of a wonderful, caring, personal, and principle-based God. For some of us, God is our best friend. And for others, God is our go-to when we struggle with the question, the intellect end. You see, as we mature spiritually, we invite God in more often. We invite that stillness and that presence and that calm that the presence and acknowledgement of God brings to our life. For the very birds sing, and the very life within us brings joy. For today we choose to experience the stillness of God within us. So I invite you to open your heart wider and listen to that still small voice of God. So ever so gently bring ourselves back to this moment of now, and in our own quiet way, give gratitude for this moment. And so it is. Amen. Amen. So today I want to share with you a story, a miracle, as it's been termed, in our synoptic Gospels. Does anybody know what that is? Well, let me tell you what it is. It's the 4 Gospels minus John. It's Matthew, Mark, and Luke, which means that this particular Bible story is not in John, which I found interesting. There's a lot of things within the first 3 Gospels that are not in John. And why is that? Why is that John has such a different representation of the Bible than the Synoptic Gospels, than the other 3? And it's because it's said that John looked at the stories that were in the 3 Gospels and said, well, that's been covered, and chose to do other things. He spent a little bit more time on the first year of Jesus' birth, Jesus' ministry, and also believed that Jesus was around for 4 years once he started, not 3 years in his ministry. So it's a little bit different take. And he takes it as a God as if he knows God, while the other 3 take it as it's just some guy running around that they call Jesus. Truth is, they never called him Jesus so much later, but that's besides the point. So this story, as I said, appears in all 3 Gospels. And I'm going to share with you from Matthew. Short and sweet, too. And it's Matthew 8, verse 23 through 27, and it reads like this. It's titled, Wind and Wave Obey Jesus. Now when he got into a boat, his disciples followed him. And suddenly a great tempest arose on the seas, so that the boat was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. Then his disciples came to him and woke him, saying, Lord, save us, we are perishing. But he said to them, Why are you fearful, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. And the men marveled, saying, Who can this be, that even the winds and the seas obey him? Miracle, right? No. In that time, it seemed like a miracle. You see? So I take the philosophy, and not every minister, Unity Ministers, agrees with this, and really do I care? Not really. But I think there is no miracles. I think there is no hope. I think there is no luck. There is what you make of it. And so if you win the lottery, it's because you bought a ticket. It's not a miracle. You can't win unless you buy a ticket, right? So is that luck that you won it? No. You physically went and did something. That's our 5th tenet. So why would that be a miracle? But to the disciples, this appeared to be a miracle. Because after all, I mean, who can calm the seas, right? Have any of you ever calmed the seas? Yeah. So if they did it, then it can't be a miracle, right? Because I'm pretty sure that they don't have a saint in front of their name. You know what I'm saying? So we have to first get rid of the notion that we can't do it. Because we can. We absolutely can do it. So let me share something with you from Elizabeth Sand Turner. You guys got that book? Your Hope of Glory. Elizabeth Sand Turner wrote 3 books, and they're all metaphysically interpreting the Bible. The first one is Let There Be Light, and that's for the Old Testament. Your Hope of Glory is for the Gospels. And then she wrote a 3rd book, I'm drawing a blank to the name, but it's about after Jesus' resurrection. So you ever want to dive into so I did that, of course, this morning. I do that with as many lessons as I can. And this is what she says about miracles. What is a miracle? One dictionary defines a miracle as an event or effect in the physical world deviating from the laws known as nature or transcending our knowledge of these laws. According to this definition, Jesus did perform miracles. Many Christians contended that miraculous power was given only to Jesus and his immediate followers. Metaphysically, a miracle is explained as being the outcome of man's obedience to divine law. Man's obedience to divine law. Now, the question that you should ask yourself is, what's the divine law? Guess what it is? What? You can do anything. Is that not cool? That the universe does not get in your way of what it is you want to accomplish. But we have been taught that, no, I'm human, I can't do that, right? That's not my purview to do it. And so forgive me for some of you who know this story, but it's very quick. I'm driving down a Maryland Seashore Road with another fellow minister. I'm doing the driving. When a thundercloud burst open and the windshield wipers went, and I said, gosh, I can't even see. I mean, it was, one of those moments with the wind. And my compadre just simply opens her eyes because she did not know that it was raining. And she said, well, let me help you with that. And the rain stopped for my car. Windshield wiper stopped. I could see everyone else, but still, as I drove down the road, could see perfectly. I just turned and looked at her and said, thanks. It was very unassuming on her part. She answered the call, handled it, and moved on. Was that a miracle? Now, I could have taken it to that level. I could have notified the Vatican, and then she gets one of the 3 notches necessary to become a saint, right? So I just casually said thank you. But it changed my life. One of those epiphany moments where I realized that it is possible. I can do anything I want. I can calm the seas. I can even be asleep, not even knowing that the seas needed to be calmed, as Jesus did. Now, how can you sleep in a rocky boat? How many of you guys have been in a boat where it's rocky? Do you feel like sleeping? No. The stomach is telling you very, very different. We are not going to bed anytime soon. Right? So it's rocking back and forth. And one of the other things in this verse that need to be noted is that they followed him into the boat. Now, if you know anything about the Gospels, just a little sidekick, is that Jesus did self-care often. He went off by himself to get himself together. Now, in this particular verse, he has just did miracles, and did a whole bunch of stuff with people. He's probably drained. He needs some Gatorade. He needs some time away. So he gets in the boat and they all follow him, which says that they needed time also. And they were going to get it. Now, another Bible verse says he not only got in the boat, but all his followers followed him. So there's the parade down the Galilean River, wherever body of water they were on. And the third verse says that he not only slept, he told the disciples, what is your major malfunction? Can't you see how simple this is? And they're like, duh. Because they're being taught by example that the outer world does not control us. Our inner world controls us. That whole self-talk. Yeah, The good stuff, right? That's all we ever talk about our bodies is the good. We don't say anything negative about our bodies, do we? Uh-huh. Tell your body that. You see, because we're in 23 days before our wonderful election. And no matter what the results of the election, whenever we find out what they are, the world will be different, no matter what. And I'm not coming from an esoteric nature that says, well, every day is different than yesterday. I'm not doing that. I'm talking about how we respond to those results. Doesn't matter how. It's how we choose to respond. Because we're putting all of our focus on the outer world, aren't we? It's a big deal. It's a big deal in our world. And so each of us has got our own form of storms on the water, don't we? Yeah. And how many of us have been taught to just weather the storm? Oh, this too shall pass. How about that one? Yeah. It'll pass the moment you let it go. The moment you take a calm stance on it, it'll go. You can sleep through the storms. And I'm not talking about drug-induced. I'm talking about the calm. What's that saying? Stay calm? And then he adds something else after it. Stay calm. And how do you do that when we're right in the middle of so many ways that the storm is brewing outside us, within us? And how do I stay connected with God in that process? You see, unity teaches us to go within to connect with God. And how do we do that when the outer world is dictating our emotional levels that we've allowed? Right? It's up to us to not weather the storm. I don't want to weather a storm and let it... No, I want to calm the storm. I want the storm within me to shut the blank up. Right? I mean, that's been my mantra lately. The blank is there, honest. My mantra is, geez, Mo, calm down. Really, catch your breath, will you? You know, and we've been saying all summer long, turn the radio off, turn the TV off, turn the pundits off. And I don't know about you, I haven't followed that, but I've definitely reduced it. You know, I'm doing the best I can, right? Because after all, I'm going to miss something. Yeah, I'm going to miss somebody's opinion about blank, blank, blank. Stay calm. Because we got a lot of storms in our lives right now. And they too shall eventually dissipate, and we'll remember 2020 as this year that all these things happened. But the truth is, we can live right now within that calmness. We can stop the storms in our psyche. Now, how do you do that? That's it. Decide. Decide, I am not going to disturb the calm of my soul right now. And you tell your body to follow suit. And your heart will stop racing, your breathing will become more shallow, and people want to hang out with you because you're cool. Because you're calm. We only want to hang out with people who aren't calm because we're not calm. You know, where two or more are gathered together, there's a disturbance. Right? So we need to look at the storms in our lives. You know, we all have a lot of them in common right now. But we also have our individual storms. You know, our children not finding a job. Our grandchildren going to schools. The concern, the fears that are just naturally built in when we want to take care of our families and we're not able to. It's a natural instinct. And yet you can trust in God. You see, the disciples had a lot of faith. Just in the wrong things. Their faith was in the storm was going to drown them all. That was their faith. And so Jesus rebukes them and the sea and says, stop it. Just stop it. And he resumed his calmness. You see, because you can close your eyes. Why don't we close our eyes right now? Close our eyes. And I want you to just Pick one of the many storms in your life and gently bring it to the forefront of your mind. And then I want you to breathe calm into it. Literally. See your breath dissipating this disturbance within your mind. And allow it dissipate like a bubble that's been popped. Take a breath, dissipate it, and open your eyes. Every time that storm comes up, you see it dissipate. Poof. And you remain calm like a butterfly who's just found the perfect flower. We breathe out and dissipate the troubled waters in our lives. That's God, through you, working in together to form a seeming miracle. Because the more of us that dissipate those storms, the less storms there are. And don't we want less storms in our lives? Just a couple, right? Just a couple less. Yeah. So your homework is every day dissipate one of your storms. Breathe into it and dissipate it. Make it fall away into little pebbles that mean nothing. And we give gratitude to God for that ability to perform an internal miracle in our lives. God bless you. It is so good to see all of you. I'm not going to go so far as to say I missed you, but I did miss the physical contact that you all provide. So for that, I love you. Thank you. Amen.
Before we sing our closing song, I'd like to first say that, well, I can only speak for myself, can't I? I'm so glad Reverend Monica's back. So how about if we give her a big round of applause here? We missed you. I missed you. Okay. Anyway, I'd like to take this moment and recognize today as a very special day. Many of us have not heard of this being Pastor or Clergy Appreciation Day, but since it was brought to our awareness, we would like to extend our appreciation to our beloved Reverend Mo. So Reverend Mo, we want to say we love you and very much appreciate all that you do, especially during this extremely challenging time. Please join me in putting our hands together and sending out some love to Reverend Mo. We do love you, Reverend Mo. She wants to hold it. Yay! Thank you for all you do.
I'll pay you that money later, Don.
Not a problem.
You want me to put them over? Yes.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other